I've chosen to read to you an excerpt by the great French playwright Alexandre Dumas and his world-famous novel The Three Musketeers. He was an exceptional man. He was a French playwright who was mixed race. He was in fact the son of a freed slave, and his father was Thomas Alexandre Dumas, and he was actually born as the son of a slave woman and his white father, who was a slave owner in what is nowadays Haiti. And his father was taken to France by his grandfather, the Duke, and later on decided that he should take his slave mother's name and to join the French army, and had amazing military successes. He became the first general in the French army in history who was black. His son was born and raised in France. He was born in 1802. He became one of the biggest, or even the biggest, French writer of all times, even more popular or more famous than Victor Hugo or Albert Camus. He wrote hundreds of fiction and non-fiction, and his works were translated in over 100 different languages. Some of the most famous ones are The Count of Monte Cristo, The Three Musketeers. His version of the Nutcracker inspired the Tchaikovsky ballet. The Black Tulip is also world famous. Alexandre Dumas left a legacy to the literature world that not many people can equal. And this was at a time in the 19th century when the French, as well as other nations, the Brits, the Dutch, the Portuguese, were expanding their empires. And he actually lived through the times when France abolished slavery not just once but thrice, and then eventually in 1848 slavery was abolished once and for all in the French colonies.
Alexandre Dumas, avec vous, c'est l'enfance, ces heures de lecture savourées en secret, l'émotion, la passion, l'aventure, le panache qui entre au Panthéon.
So, without further ado, I will read out the excerpt in English and then in French. When arrived there, the cause of the hubbub was apparent to all. A young man, we can sketch his portrait at a dash. Imagine to yourself a Don Quixote of 18, a Don Quixote without his corselet, without his coat of mail, without his cuisses, a Don Quixote clothed in a woolen doublet, the blue colour of which had faded into a nameless shade between lees of wine and a heavenly azure. Face long and brown, high cheekbones, a sign of sagacity, the maxillary muscles enormously developed, an infallible sign of which a Gascon may always be detected, even without his cap. And our young man wore a cap set off with a sort of feather, the eye open and intelligent, the nose hooked but finely chiselled. Too big for a youth, too small for a grown man. An experienced eye might have taken him for a farmer's son upon a journey, had it not been for the long sword which, dangling from a leather baldric, hit against the calves of its owner as he walked, and against the rough side of his steed when he was on horseback. For our young man had a steed which was the observed of all observers. It was a Béarn pony, from 12 to 14 years old, yellow in his hide, without hair in his tail, but not without windgalls on his legs, which, though going with his head lower than the knees, rendering the martingale quite unnecessary, contrived nevertheless to perform his 8 leagues a day. Unfortunately, the qualities of this horse was so well concealed under his strange coloured hide and his unaccountable gait that at a time when everybody was a connoisseur in horseflesh, the appearance of the aforesaid pony at Meung, which place he had entered about a quarter of an hour before, by the gate of Beaugency, produced an unfavourable feeling which extended to his rider. And now in French, because after all I'm a French teacher and it would be rude not to. Arrivé là, chacun peut voir et reconnaître la cause de cette rumeur. Un jeune homme, traçant son portrait d'un seul trait de plume. Figurez-vous à Don Quichotte à 18 ans. Don Quichotte décorcelé, sans aubert, sans cuissard. Don Quichotte revêtu d'un pourpoint de laine dont la couleur bleue s'était transformée en une nuance insaisissable de lit de vin et d'azur céleste. Visage long et brun, la pommette des joues saillantes, signe d'astuce, les muscles maxillaires énormément développés, indice infaillible auquel on reconnaît le Gascon, même sans béret. Et notre jeune homme portait un béret orné d'une espèce de plume, l'œil ouvert et intelligent, le nez crochu mais finement dessiné, trop grand pour un adolescent, trop petit pour un homme fait, et qu'un œil peu exercé eût pris pour un fils de fermier en voyage, sans sa longue épée pendue à un baudrier de peau, battait les mollets de son propriétaire quand il était à pied, et le poil hérissé de sa monture quand il était à cheval. Car notre jeune homme avait une monture, et cette monture était même si remarquable qu'elle fut remarquée. C'était un bidet du Béarn, âgé de 12 ou 14 ans, jaune de robe, sans crin à la queue, mais non pas sans javard aux jambes, et qui, tout en marchant la tête plus bas que les genoux, ce qui rendait inutile l'application de la martingale, faisant encore également ses 8 lieues par jour. Malheureusement, les qualités de ce cheval étaient si bien cachées sous son poil étrange et son allure incongrue que, dans un temps où tout le monde se connaissait en chevaux, l'apparition de susdit bidet à Meung, où il était rentré il y avait un quart d'heure à peu près par la porte de Beaugency, produisit une sensation dont la défaveur rejaillit jusqu'à son cavalier.